Banks are standing at the edge of crisis. Bitcoin reclaims and moves back down to where it started before the excitement of grayscale. And will we be able to get Gary Gensler out of the SEC? All this and more on today's Blockchain Basement.
Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there. But if we do, that's kind of where we.
Welcome one, welcome all to the Blockchain Basement. I am the Truth, and we are joined with some fantastic characters. Haven't had Morel on in a while. Thank you for joining me, man. How you been?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Yeah.
Busy, but
it's been a thing. Good. You've been blasting. You've been doing great. You're revamping kind of our merch side and all that stuff. So excited to see what you come out with. We also have Aaron, the man behind the curtains of the blockchain bunker. How you doing, dude?
What up? I am just loving the chat. Good vibes for sure.
This Owen Allen is just an absolutely fantastic person. We do have Owen in the building here. Show your face. Let me see you. You're doing well. Look at that. He covered himself up in purpose. But thank you for joining us. Owen Allen, Beastmaster, Ja Vinci, let's see, Anthony Ackerley. Yes, may your eggs be runny, but not your poo. Correct.
That's the one that had me laughing before we went live.
Dude, you know, it's nice to hear that you're going through the same kind of house upgrade issues that I'm going through right now. You know, I was complaining this morning about an electrical problem that I tried to fix myself. I take a lot of pride in fixing things myself, but this electrical outlet, it didn't have a blowout zone. I couldn't find where it blew out in the circuit, and it was killing me. I was like, I should be able to fix this. What is going on with me? Ends up that it was a massive problem, and I'm really glad that it was, kind of out of my expertise. You got to know when to call the professionals. So had to kind of be humbled there, let them do their thing. It's a very old house, so I revamped half of it, and there was just one corner that still needed some love. But, you know, sometimes when you have some small cataclysm in the background, it can cause a major one later on. So we always look out for that. But yes, it looks like some things have happened on the crypto markets. We were talking about it today. I think prices changed a little bit since we were on this morning, but we are down to 27.15. Looking like we might actually retrace, similar to XRP's pump out to the SEC news, like we were talking about yesterday. That is a potential. And in general, you know, I mean, it's trying to make itself out of this cavern. I still feel some chop for sure here. How long or how deep that chop goes, still to be discovered. But some interesting things happened yesterday after the grayscale news broke. Whales actually did this before the news. So Whales bought $388 million worth of Bitcoin just before the grayscale news. Bitcoin BTC whales have been accumulating more and more over the past few months, with price tips providing good buying opportunities. These large BTC holders appear to have rode for the impending court decision in the grayscale versus SEC case to basically add to their holdings. So this is definitely interesting to see that they feel comfortable moving in at a time such as this, a tumultuous accumulation zone. As crypto reacted to upward action and BTC shot over 28K, and we were talking about that kind of right as it happened yesterday, whales and sharks were handsomely rewarded with a 6% price pump, which is not bad for one day in the markets. Not too bad at all. And yes, you can guarantee yourself that Wall Street's watching this as everything in the negative on the traditional markets goes on, which we will be getting into later. That's the real linchpin here. The exchange on supply of Bitcoin has boosted significantly prior to Grayscale's win over the SEC. It looks like quite clear that the powers that be knew of an inevitable boost in crypto market capitalization as a result of this outcome. Now we'll go into this chart here. Very interesting. So this is Bitcoin making its way to exchanges, getting ready to be exchanged right before the decision, that gigantic wick. But like I said, we go back to the main just 7-day candle setup here. They moved all of that Bitcoin onto exchanges, got ready for the sale right there, and then bam. So
Ain't that purdy?
It is kind of purdy. You know, it's nice to see that it's waking up a little bit. It is still, you know, right here. I really feel, you know, I was looking at the price to mine Bitcoin. We were looking at that metric heavily during this cavern here, just to try to find where the actual base was when we're in the $17,000 Bitcoin range. And it's only really mentioned here and a few other places that the cost to mine Bitcoin, somewhere around $16,000 or $19,000, and the price that it was selling for was, you know, 16, 15,000. So there's a discrepancy there. We saw that as a potential holding point for Bitcoin. It looks like so far that's been the case. But yeah, I'm kind of waiting for a few shoes to drop just from the wobbliness of the overall macro markets. You know, kind of putting some dry powder on the sides, making sure that I'm ready for a good dip. So let's see here. Let's get it, Drew. Definitely talk about the CDOs and what they renamed after the 2008, which is a problem we are going through right now in commercial real estate. The market will collapse soon. And I tend to agree with you, Beastmaster. Yeah, you know what? Let's get into the real nasty here. This is from Finance a Lot, and current unrealized losses in the U.S. banking system is at a negative $1.8 trillion out of a $2.2 trillion capital pool. So they nearly owe as much as they have in our entire banking system. Let that sink in. That's as wild. A whole.
That's not good.
We're not talking about one bank in particular. We're talking about the infrastructure of how money is transmitted. So this is very, very important. And this is not being discussed. While all this other stuff is going on, people are missing the main fact of the pain that is on the horizon for these systems. So with corporate taxes due September 15th and the possible government shutdown looming from the lack of bipartisan cooperation between our government, the general public has no idea that banks are already insolvent, entering a nightmare liquidity scenario in October. So let's check this out. This is a great take, and he covers a little bit of, like, obviously, if you've been following the show, I have talked so far about the fact that there is a looming negative $680 billion hole in our securities side for the banking sector in particular. But this expands on that idea and shows you a much, much bigger scope of the scenario of which we're actually dealing with here. So let's check this out. Make sure my sound's working. Might have to turn it up. Let me know in the comments. Let's see here. Got the sound going. All right, going.
And for the overall U.S. banks, you have about $620 billion of unrealized losses on the securities out of a capital of $2.2 trillion. And for some of the regional banks, the number are much higher. But it's not just the securities have lower value. Many of the banks had issued loans like mortgages at fixed rates at 30%, 30 years, when interest rates were 1%, while right now there are 3.5% for 10-year treasuries. So the market value of those assets is also down. People have estimated, therefore, the overall losses for the U.S. banking system for the rise in interest rates, both on securities and loans, are equivalent to 1.8 trillion out of a capital of 2.2 trillion. Hundreds of the smaller banks are literally insolvent. So that's a fundamental problem. When interest rates go higher, the value of securities and loans is lower, and then we have mass liquidity and solvency problems.
Your recent book was called Mega.
That's it, man. Like, it was beautiful to hear this also quantified by other experts. I mean, you feel kind of crazy when you're calling this thing out, and it doesn't seem like a big problem, right? And not a lot of people are talking about it. Other people are just talking about the fact that interest rates are going up so fast. Like, our velocity of interest rates that we've experienced over the last year and a half, are the highest velocity interest rates this country has ever experienced. A lot of people will bring up the fact that, yes, we have an increasing interest rate situation on the U.S. Economy right now, but they try to compare the fact that we went all the way up to an 18% interest rate in the 80s to fix what the stagflation, then inflationary crisis that happened in the 70s caused. So they try to use that metric to say, oh, you know, it's just going to kind of rhyme like that again. But what they don't realize is that our overall debt holdings and the overall amount of money that's out and at risk right now is exponentially higher than that past situation, because the market has matured. More money has come into the market. More things rely on this system to stay afloat. It's a very, very dangerous, slow-moving problem that not a lot of people are watching out for. And, if you are going to be convicted about having self-sovereignty and to be into decentralization and taking control of your finance, then you need to understand the underscope of why. Why are you going through controlling your own seed phrases? Why are you so adamant about, finding new solutions to transmitting money? Ask yourself that intrinsic question. And then the investing part of it is just the fun. The fundamentals and why you are here will become well understood and ingrained if you really pay attention closely to this situation. And I want to pull up
that chart up.
Yeah, I'm going to pull this chart up from Finance a Lot. Charles Schwab owes 130% of their total equity capital to short duration FHLB loans that have to be paid back soon. The total assets are $350 billion. There's your September Lehman Brothers moment. And he highlights this chart, just an insane kind of overscope. And this is almost like a bingo chart. Like you could kind of turn this into a bingo of insolvencies, because that's what the sheet we are looking at may well soon be. So now at the top, with the one that had the highest rate of what was due compared to what they were making, was Signature Bank, right? So you see that 140% right there. Now the next one down, which is at 130%, just under the recently insolvent Signature Bank, is Charles Schwab. Ooh. Now, many people are, in this banking system right here, and then also Key Bank, a well-known bank, USAA, Federal Savings, huge, PNC Bank, and then Truist Bank out here in kind of the eastern portion of the United States, U.S. Bank. The list goes on. So, and if you go down this, it gets a little bit better for these. These guys are doing great in comparison. Like you have 6% of their capitals due. But then you go all the way up to the top of the next to be incinerated list, and we have Charles Schwab and the USAA Bank listed right there. Ooh. Not many people are realizing what kind of edge of cliff that we are standing on with this situation. So, now we think about, okay, so we have interest rates going up the fastest they've ever gone in the United States history.
What are they at now, Drew?
They're right around 7-8%. Well, home loans, I'm thinking 7-8%, but okay. I think the federal fund rate is about 5.5, 5.75.
It's gone up more since I bought my house. It's crazy.
It has, absolutely. And I saw this coming, right? So this all plays into how to improve your life, not only with crypto, but with real estate moves, right? You got to think about the federal fund rate in relativity to your real estate, because you can't live in a Bitcoin. You can find different ways to get paid through many different avenues, and real estate is one of those things. So what I saw coming was an interest rate hike a few years back. And so I remember when I moved out here for this company, moved everything I had, put all the trust, put the wheels to the floor, and I came here. I was buying a home, and we got in at a very low rate. I think we got like 3.5. Nice. And right before that, we sold, and it was 3.25, right? Okay, so that we're talking about a week's difference. This thing over a week was climbing by 0.25%, and it felt like I was racing out of the building when I was doing the paperwork for it, because you realize that when these things are changing, they talk about them slowly, but they happen fast on your interest rate and your mortgage rate if you're doing those types of transactions and you experience it. So locking that interest rate in at a low level, buying at a low level, and then, selling into, the housing market increased by 30, 40%, 50%, 100% in some areas during the pandemic. So that asset class in and of itself was really quite profitable, as well as cryptocurrency during the last bull market. This is how you compound your gains, how you kind of exponentially improve your life. If you see chaos coming, you need to know when they have to take the pressure off of the banking system to not collapse it. Right? You need to know when they're telling you something and the complete opposite is a lie. You need to understand those times. And looking through this information right here is how you do so. You have to look between the lines. You have to think objectively. Now, this is a danger zone for sure, but what is coming potentially of all this is, employment is actually slowing down. So U.S. job growth slowed massively in August. ADP employment gains fell from 371,000 in July to 177,000, missing expectations by 17,000. And this adds up to the sour job openings data we got yesterday, cracks are spreading in the labor market as well. Not just the real estate market, and hopefully the manufacturing market. That's the linchpin that might help us out here, because we're going to have to do so because of Taiwan, which is coming very shortly too, that no one seems to be talking about. That's a whole nother subject, maybe for the bunker. But rate hikes impacting this are finally hitting. So here's just your overall ADP employment change. Definitely heavy hiring during the 2021 to mid 2022 range, and then has absolutely tailored off since then. So how is that the real Biscuit Jesus?
Where?
Owen.
Where is it?
He's in the chat. You got to make him a mod.
Is he really?
My God, yeah. Yes. And so, sorry that got kind of wrapped up in this, but there's a lot to this. There's a big, big bad potential from this. That might be the real Biscuit Jesus. Send me a text, Biscuit. Let me know if I can make you a mod.
So I just want to add, Drew, I mean, I don't fully know all the stuff there. Wait, can you bring that back up? So with the chart like this, people, there's less jobs, and there's also rumors of a lockdown coming down, right?
Yes.
Potentially?
Yes.
And the interest rates are going up?
Yes.
To me, in my head, that seems bad.
It's a perfect storm.
What do you think's going to happen with that?
Well, let's get into that. Something real nasty. Bail-ins. Banking bail-ins. So the sneaky legislation that puts you on the hook for failing banks. That's juicy. Let's take a look here. During the Great Recession, the United States government spent $700 billion in taxpayer money to bail out the banks that had caused the financial crisis in the first place. After that, Congress passed laws to ensure the government would never bail out Wall Street in the future, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your money will be safe during the next financial crisis. So the end of the bank bailout era ushered in a beginning of bank bail-ins. This is something very few people I hear talking about, which could not put you, not just your tax dollars at risk on the front end trying to fix the problems with your tax money that you pay per year, but the actual money in your bank account. Think about that. The money in your bank account. Bailout versus bail-in at a glance. So this is just the comparison of the two of what we're talking about here. So a bank bailout is where the government uses your taxpayer dollars to buy out toxic assets and infuse capital into failing banks to keep them from going under. Okay. Now a bank bail-in is, rather than using your tax money to infuse those bailouts, they can simply seize the money from the depositors. Okay. Turning the debt into equity and keeping the bank afloat. That's a very, very nefarious thing to cook into the overall structure of our government and how money moves. This all was put in place after the financial crisis in 2007, 2008. So, there is a major storm in the horizon that may come to fruition. And if it does, you will see bank bail-ins. But then, what you said, Aaron, I've been talking about, some people that are close to me bringing up the potential 2.0 scenario for flu season, which is super crazy that people could be so brainwashed that they will still believe the people that tell them to lock down again, to tell them to wear masks again. That's insane to me to think that that's a potential for the general public. And when I look around and I talk about these things with the general public, it actually starts to make sense. Yes. And Owen, I've been meaning to make Manawak a mod. I want to make him a mod. Can you go do that?
It's really me.
It is really me. I know Manawak. He's good. Manawak is some great people, and he's the kind of people that you need on your side when these types of potentials are on the horizon, because there is a potential for some actual hard-sided civil unrest, not just from the election that's coming up, but because of people's if they get their money taken out of their banks while they're locked down, while the election kind of turns into a S show. I mean, I'm sorry to say it some kind of non-believer in electoral process, but if you have mail-ins only, you have lockdowns, you have bank bail-ins, you will have civil unrest, and you need good people on your side for situations like that. People that are paying attention and that see through the BS that's out there right now, the lies that they feed you to try to keep you asleep and keep you misinformed, because that is real. And there's many people that do it just for the clicks and all that stuff. And I made this title very serious. A lot of people are like, oh my God, what's going on? This is serious stuff right now. And it's something that we need to think about when you talk about Bitcoin being a backing of fiat currency, why would they do that? Ask yourself, why would they even need to change from a US dollar fiat currency into something that's proof of work, provable, backed by some type of energy spent, right? What is the point in that? You have to understand the underscope of why these linchpins might happen. And when I think about how this is actually looking like it's playing out, it is my opinion that we are going to experience something like a Bretton Woods 2.0 situation. Now, Bretton Woods 1.0 was a decision to make the United States the world reserve currency after World War II. Okay. So once we did that, we had control of the world reserve currency. Then we talk about 1971 a lot, where we took away the gold standard with the 5-minute Nixon speech that everyone just kind of flew over their heads, and they're like, all right, well, that sounds good, just temporary measures. France tried to come over and take their gold back because they saw that our system was going insolvent or on the road to it, and it wasn't backed by any intrinsic value anymore. And then here we are today, 50 years later, and we are far down the road when it comes to it.
Well, you got me all scared now, Drew. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to go live off grid now. Also, Manawak, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's great. He says the big 5-0.
Nice. Happy birthday, Manawak. Yeah.
Half century.
Big 5-0, man. I mean, it's, in this situation, like, it's hit people that have been working their whole life and then, retired and have a certain amount, a few $100,000 to retire on. That means a lot less now in this hyperinflationary environment. So those types of talking points and understanding are very important for people as well to understand why we look at this, this industry, why Bitcoin makes sense. You have to think about the broader scope of things and really try to read between the lines. After Bretton Woods 2.0, I think that in general, I mentioned it on the live stream this morning, I do think that in 10, 20 years, depending on how fast these world conflicts move, which keep in mind, they can move pretty fast now, especially with technology exponentially increasing in its advancements. Think about that variable in our current day and age. But the U.S. government is now believed to control the 5th largest Bitcoin wallet linked to the Bitfinex hack. This came out this morning, and I found this story very interesting. In a startling revelation, cybersecurity firm PeckShield has raised the alarm on X, also known as Twitter, to many, suggesting that a substantial Bitcoin wallet ranked as the 5th largest globally contains approximately 94,500 Bitcoin.
Good God.
That's a lot of Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin, which is equivalent to around $2.46 billion. So, I talk about the problem, and now I'm looking at the back end solution that I think is cooked into the books that we need to pay attention to and get ahead of this. It's possibly under the control of the U.S. government. So this occurrence is not the first of its kind. In 2022, PeckShield had previously reported that the U.S. Department of Justice had taken control of the account associated with the Bitfinex hack, and the DOJ's actions resulted in the seizure of a staggering $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's
Have you seen those pictures of like the police officers around the table?
Oh yeah,
and it's just like a wallet or whatever,
just a little like ledger or whatever.
Yeah,
you know
ledger.
what I mean? Absolutely.
That's what I think of that.
Absolutely. In a recent courtroom revelation, the 35-year-old New York resident Illa Dutch Lichtenstein confessed to orchestrating the original 2016 cyber attack on Bitfinex. In a federal court in Washington, D.C., obviously, Lichtenstein pleaded guilty to laundering the stolen Bitcoin and acknowledged his involvement in the robbery. So pretty crazy stuff. And obviously, it's been rumored for a long time that there's another account that might be holding around $190 billion worth of crypto, or not 190 billion, but 190,000 Bitcoin, and incrementally selling off. Now, I've seen it on Arkham Intelligence. I haven't seen any verification that truly is another government Bitcoin wallet. That'd be absolutely insurmountable if it was. I mean, and it'd be very clear as day if that was. If we see them just outwardly holding Bitcoin, it becomes a lot more clearer. But more often than not, like we see with BlackRock getting back-end exposure into the, we mentioned last week, the BlackRock's invested into 4 of the 5 biggest Bitcoin miners in the United States. So we can see BlackRock leveraging into that technology, but then also pulling away from the ESG and narrative of, gas oil exploration is so bad and all that stuff. They had to pull away because the attorney generals of 22 states came after them and made them do so. So your voice is heard in that regard. Thank God.
Drew, I have a question. So the government has all that Bitcoin. What do you think they're going to do with it? Do you think they're like slowly going to sell it off, or wait for the price to go up then sell all? Like they can't sell all that. That's not good.
I think that they'll keep accumulating in their own ways, and it's going to be hard to know exactly where they're accumulating at. It's not like the government's gold holdings have been really easy to ascertain the total amount to, right? Think about that. But I do think that they're going to hold a certain amount as a backing for the next fiat currency system, which is likely to be a CBDC. And CBDCs is a nasty. That's where you get to the real dark potentials of where this technology could go. We talk a lot about the potentials for control that this new technology can implement. Now, when I say it can implement it, it's not a guarantee that CBDCs are going to enslave you. If you have a psychopath behind the controls, then yes, you have a problem. But it is a tool. It can be used for good too. So it's up to us as people to make sure that the elected leaders, or if you make sure that we can elect leaders, and make sure that they hear us. I know it's hard to say that with like a straight like make sure you are elected. Like, you have to make sure you have an election first.
I saw. I think it was Crypto Thorn. He was like, "Man, soon we're going to be able to text in our votes. That's a great idea, right?
Text in our votes.
Text in our votes. Yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of potential for how blockchain could help voting too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it has to be super secure systems, and that's going to take years, if not decades, to create, to analyze, to stress test. Those things have to be rock solid for a system like that to be put in place. But there is the potential for this blockchain technology to not only be used for voting, but also what we talk about with biotechnologies, or BJ's field, the medical field, and kind of all of the medical information. And if it was outwardly transparent on a blockchain, think about how different 2020 could have gone. Think about the change that could have made in how economies wouldn't have shut down. Think about that potential. Morel, how the hell are you doing? God, I've been going off, man. Am I scaring you enough? Are you ready to move to the woods with us?
Almost.
I think I saw him almost cry.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Almost.
I patted him on the shoulder when it was on you, and I was like, "It's okay, Morel. It's okay."
Yeah. I mean, and I obviously look at when people ask you why you're in crypto, Morel, what kind of baseline answer are you able to give them? Because I just kind of go off the rails and start screaming from the rooftops and climbing buildings. What do you do when someone asks you why?
Financial sovereignty.
Oh, that thing died. Financial sovereignty?
Yeah.
Okay. Just like the idea of being able to control the money and not be shut down.
Control the money, grow wealth.
Okay.
Investing in new technology.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to beat the crowd to the game.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. And it does have that aspect where it's a very disruptive technology, and you have a chance to get in early on something that, in my opinion, is probably as important as the invention of the pen or the invention of the wheel. Like, this is how money moves along. And, you learn about the wealth of nations, read the Wealth of Nations to get a really good scope of how money has changed. You can understand, the time frame where we were trading salt for, sections of cows, and then how we got excited when there was a heavy metal or some kind of metal that we could transfer quickly. Now you look around where we are, most things are bought online, and we're turning into kind of a digital economy, a digital infrastructure of just, the way of life. So seeing the electronic creation of money transfer is just a given. It's really a given if you are honest with your surroundings of what people are doing to get their goods right now and how to make money. If you want to start a business, if you want to actually expand, that's where the expansion's happening. And so, that's a great point. Being ahead of it, very important to do. Absolutely. So let's see here. I got some news out of Binance. I don't know how much has really been talked about on this, but SEC files sealed motion in Binance case, unraveling a rare legal maneuver. So, in a surprising turn of events, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission has filed a sealed motion on its ongoing litigation against Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange. Usually, the SEC's motion and enforcement actions are filed openly and made accessible to the public. However, the filing documents under the seal is a highly unusual tactic the SEC employs, typically reserved for exceptional circumstances. Absolutely. You have to keep it close to your chest until it really goes to court. There's some stuff there. There's some stuff. So yeah, think about that. Given the rare nature of the SEC's action, the situation remains complex and the outcome is difficult to predict. If Binance were to challenge the SEC's request for sealing, it could indicate that the motion is related to the SEC's desire to keep the identity of a witness undisclosed. At the same time, Binance seeks transparency regarding its accusers. So very, very interesting stuff. And obviously we had the out of the SEC as well. On the other side of things, this is a U.S. senator very aggravated with the actions of the SEC chair, not the organization itself, but the chair, Gary Gensler. So U.S. Senator Davidson sparks calls to fire Gary Gensler after a second legal loss. There's Gary looking vehemently at his next fried chicken meal.
I'm so tired of the word Gary Gensler. That's 2 words.
I know.
And SEC.
I know.
I see some love in the chat. Naomi, I see you. Morel, she's giving you some love.
Hey,
thank you.
What else did I read? Where was it? Someone asked what our 2 top coins were or projects from C90 FTW.
Okay.
My biggest bag is Cardano. I like Cardano a lot. I've met Charles, awesome guy. And what's my second best? I think ETH after that. I know. BJ, don't come after me. Don't come after me. I own ETH. Yep.
Yeah,
but
BJ would literally attack you if you said
Cardano is my biggest holding by like a long shot.
Dude.
I know.
Cardano's probably going to be there. I like Cardano, man.
love Cardano.
It's a good project. I really believe in Charlie. Like, I don't know him intricately, so I don't know exactly how to feel about him.
I met him personally. He's a great
I don't
guy.
make decisions on people unless I know. So I met him briefly. He seems like he has a good kind of intention. I can see that Cardano keeps working, keeps building, so it seems like a reasonable project. My biggest bag is XRP. It's XRP right now. Well, honestly, beyond Tether. I am waiting.
You're moving it. You move coins around you move money around a lot, don't you?
No, I don't. Well, I took a lot of profits at a great time on Bitcoin that I held for a long time, and I changed my life. So a happy wife is a happy life. That's what I will say. And I wanted to kind of improve my immediate situation. I have faith in myself because I built it from the ground up. I started the research myself. I was a self-starter. I didn't have anyone holding my hand, pushing me into this situation.
Boom.
I knew that I needed to change my life to save my family's future. And that's what I did. I pulled up my pants and I did it myself. And now I have a lot more confidence in being able to rebuild that. I've done it in multiple different sectors. And on top of being a heavy metal touring musician and actually having a chance to play amphitheaters. I've done some things, okay? But I have faith in myself to rebuild the bag. I have a lot of faith in XRP to be a massive mover in the next market. So that is why I'm holding on to that asset.
I got a little XRP. Got a little.
Yep. It's a mover, man. And then I got XLM still, and I have Constellation DAG, which actually has held up pretty dang good. And it's right around 3.2 cents a piece right now. I am comfortable getting more DAG in the 3 to 4 cent range, and then I stop buying it. And I get ICP within the 3 to 375 range, and then I sell ICP. But that is, in the accumulation zone that we're currently in up until the halving of 2024. I believe it is April. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But essentially, when I see the halving happen, then it's batten down the hatches. You got what you got, and let's see what comes out of it. And when it's time to take those profits, you're going to feel like you're an idiot. You're going to see just insane ideas about where Bitcoin will be going. You're going to see these marriages between Shell and Exxon, and Bitcoin mining and government in payments to essentially mine Bitcoin and capture gas flares. You're going to see all of this. And, you're going to see problems in the banking sector all along. And remember how Bitcoin reacted during the last banking problem? It reacted really, really well. It went up from $15,000 all the way up to $31,000 before now falling into its kind of retracement. So Wall Street saw that. What's that?
These comments, Drew's vision is built on a solid foundation, like an FJ Cruiser. But not if you lived in Colorado. That sucker was rusty.
Yeah.
And
right.
also,
Well, hey.
look, that comment there too. The light doesn't shine on you. It shines within you.
I worked hard in that FJ, man. We did all kinds of stuff. And Colorado gets crazy sometimes. Sometimes you'll be sunny in the morning and then 2 feet of snow when you're on your way home. And that FJ saved me many, many times out there in that crazy climate. So kind of a metaphor for how the markets are, really. Everything can be fine. And then all of a sudden, all hell can break loose. And we saw that with what the last penny was, right? And now we're talking about a penny 2.0. We're talking about bank insolvency potentials. We have all the makings for a perfect storm, which forces the traditional finance system right here into our laps in the blockchain basement. So, just keep an eye out for these things as they go down.
I love your energy, Drew. I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We got the gym. It's got me lit up.
Me and Bobby built a gym yesterday. We now have a gym in the office, so you can always get a little quick pump before the show.
No, it's what I need. It's what I need because I always work out before I go on live in the heavy metal music sector. It's what I need to get my energy going. And obviously, I spend a lot of time thinking about this. So we work at Hit Network. We are literally paid to pay attention to the markets in a super honest and forethought way for you at home to bring you what potentially may be on the horizon, whether it be great new metaverse projects if they do revive and we see a large interest in that investment sector for institutions, then we get to see it because we have an infrastructure of people here that are all working together to bring that information to you ASAP and before it breaks amongst the rest of the public. So when you look at all the different brands like that, you got to kind of think back and be like, wow, it's kind of nice to be able to have people that aren't, literally our sponsor is it's a link to, and they give you access to easy access private investment. This is how you can support the channel if you're in early access private investment in opportunities. Link to, you can pull up my screen right here, Owen. It is a great site. You can check out the link in our description. Gives you access to these from analysis to executing your first investment. Link to has been built to keep you in mind with Ripple, Circle, and PolySign amongst many other crypto-centric investments you can make in the traditional markets. So also got to keep an eye out on Wall Street because, we talk about just our insular Bitcoin price and really what's going on with that. But the marathons, the riots out there, the coin stocks that are out there, those are going to explode if this technology is accepted institutionally. So you have to think about that and give that a lot of credence. Now, I know that stocks can be often boring sometimes, but we're in a really exciting time where technology is moving at a pace that's outrunning the problems, and we see the solution. We just need people like Gary Gensler to stop trying to arbitrage it out of existence. It's
C90 FTW. I'll have to say Cardano and Polygon for me.
Cardano and Polygon.
I got a decent amount of Polygon.
Yeah.
Polygon.
Okay. You
got all the big sponsorships and collaborations set. So
yeah, I like Polygon. It's definitely going to be part of my layer 2 portfolio when I start building it again.
I do like Avalanche too.
Nick gave me some FOMO on Avalanche.
I got a little Avalanche. I don't have a whole lot.
A little touch.
I had fun with it in the last bull run. So.
I stay within the top 20 coins. I want to make some money. I don't think I'm going to be a millionaire. But I just
Avalanche is 19.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Avalanche is $19.
No, 19.
Do we have to look at the markets again? I think we should.
Top 20.
Because I was talking about Caspa. Nick was talking about Caspa. I feel good about it. It's at a good buy point for me personally. It's like 3.4 cents right now. Let's see here. Now the real question is, do you get to get this juicy little boy right here, where these two little bottoms are? That's kind of the next stop in my mind from where it's at right now. And yeah, I mean, there's some things in the background that are going on. I don't think that we're completely out of the woods yet when it comes to the overall Bitcoin price. And obviously, these things bleed hard when Bitcoin sneezes. XDC called this 1 month ago. It just for some context on, a lot of people are like, what do you know about crypto? Look at this. I was telling people all about XDC right there, before it went up by 140%. So it's a great project. Looking to be moving into it, but I don't know about the increase on price. It just makes me, I've learned to just buy low, and I'm really looking for that 3.5 cent mark, maybe right around there. That'd be like a nice spot. But patience is a virtue when it comes to cryptocurrency, because you're in here seeing all the volatility, and it's exciting because there's major gains way beyond just losing a value on your inflating dollar day to day. So you're looking for ways to leverage and get out of that deadly situation. I mean, honestly, it's terrible. This is a great market to do so, in my opinion, but I have to exercise extreme patience and calculatedness when I pull the trigger on getting into these different projects. XDC is one of those things that I'm doing just that. Now on Polygon, let's see, Polygon, or it's
everyone's
probably
getting
Nomadic.
involved with it. Like you said, everyone's getting in on it.
Everyone's getting in.
Well, there's Disney, Meta. Ooh, this is looking tasty.
That's why I got in on it.
Look at that. Retrace completely, basically. Still got a ways to go. It'd be nice if it held that line. It would look uptrend. But that's the overall. Definitely still off the cliff. I saw some funny memes about like our pump from Grayscale getting a little bit of a win in that SEC thing. We had that massive pump and then just back down to all, you have to wait for the Bitcoin halving, and you have to know, and obviously this, you can have outliers like, this year, you could get Polygon for 76 cents and then sell it for $1.50, right?
I
That's
like
a double
that.
up.
I like that.
That's a double up. But, overall, you really want patience to be able to really change something in my life by waiting for these parabolic moves. And, it's almost a game of making sure that you're in the revolving door at the right time before you experience a halving, and then wham, you just get pummeled by gains.
So let me ask you this. Everyone in the office talks about this, and some people didn't even know this was a thing, but what is your strategy when it comes to when it's time to sell? Are you going to time the top perfectly and sell 100%? How are you going to do it? Tell us, Drew.
You're going to feel like you're making the worst mistake of your life. First of all, you're going to feel like an idiot, right? Because there's going to be tons of articles and videos coming out about it's still going to double. You know what I mean? And you have to stick to the time frames. Stick to the time frames. Me personally, I still believe heavily in the 4-year cycle because I feel that it is mathematically coded into the infrastructure of Bitcoin. Until that changes, I'm operating off that thesis. And yes, it can change. But in the past, we have 3 different data points to work off of essentially, that are roughly similar, and it looks like it's right in the same range. So I like to play the time frames of it. And also, in that feeling that you're making a mistake, don't let people kind of make you feel bad or make you feel like you're part of this tribe that needs to stay in and write it all the way back down to, because that can be super unhealthy, not only for your mental health, because if you write all that down, then you have a lot to prove and you have a lot to make up, right? But it'll make you make poor decisions. You make the worst decisions out of fear of missing out.
Emotions, man. Gosh.
Emotions. You have to control your
emotions. It's so easy to buy and DCA in, but you got to be able to sell and DCA out.
100%. 100%. So
did I do that the last bull run? No.
You did?
But I learned my lesson. I thought we were going 100K for sure.
Yeah, so. I know. Well, but look, I mean, the plan is you ladder in and ladder out. So the plan for me personally, I sold like 30 or 40% of my bag once it got to that 70K level, got rid of all the Ethereum, and that felt amazing. I was able to change my life in really a positive direction. So it felt great. Still held the rest. Obviously, there was the whole bellwether of 100K, which basically everyone on planet Earth was talking about. And I learned my lesson that, if everyone's saying it, it's probably not true. So, and yes, Tiana Whiter, that's my wife. And yeah, she was looking at the chart and I was like, oh my God, it's going to 100K. And she's like, sell it. And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. And it turned out great. So you have to keep that in mind, and you have to have a lot of gumption or just a wish to make it out of, getting screwed by inflation, by the Federal Reserve that's continuing to print money into the atmosphere and let it burn. I saw some metrics that we might be at a point where we've printed 80% of all U.S. dollars in circulation since 2020. I'm going to have to look back and make sure that is accurate, because I know it left off a few months back, or maybe even a year, it was at 60%. So if they had to continue printing that money into this new bank term funding program, this fun little program that they invented in March to hoist up regional and mid-sized banks, so that collapse in the banking sheet didn't happen earlier this year, they may have had to expand their balance sheet at that same rate. So you have to keep cognizant of that. Some nasty stuff might be on the horizon. But that's why we like to learn about, we saw the AI narrative come out, and I think that it's not going anywhere. I think that essentially AI is going to dominate media for quite a while. I think it's going to be there for a while.
Do you think it's the next metaverse hype?
I think so.
Well, do you think it's going to stay around?
Metaverse. I think it's going to be bigger than metaverse.
I think it's here,
sure.
because to me, I think the metaverse is 20 years away. AI. I mean, we're already seeing some really good stuff, like Mid-Journey, ChatGPT, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet stuff. I think it's just around the corner, but
I was super interested. I was watching a show, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I believe it was Fidelity, was running a high production value ad about metaverse Web3 investing. And I found it really interesting that they're not doing it at kind of like FOMO time. So, because obviously you saw in talking about knowing when to sell, when, you have Mark Wahlberg walking down Super Bowl commercial ads talking about cryptocurrency last cycle. That was right about the time to sell, right? Because all the media and everyone was talking about it, and it was all the buzz. That's when you had just the normies, the people that come into the market and increase that market cap, that haven't been there through the lows, that haven't had the gumption or the intuition or the just initiative to find out about a disruptive technology. That's when they get wrecked. That's why you have to do all your own due diligence and your own research and take initiative yourself to get ahead of these things before they come. That's why it's winning, is because not everyone is doing it. Not everyone is moving into that uncomfortable situation. Not everyone has the gumption to go against the grain, right? So that can be, it's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I know is to move into adversity. The best defense is a good offense. So seeing the AI stuff come up, I've been looking at Ajax, Render, and Fetch is actually another one that I was watching. So I want to check out this article. May benefit from NVIDIA's last AI push. Obviously, you saw NVIDIA is crushing it in just the traditional markets. It's a very a favorite piece of Wall Street right now. The cryptocurrency market analysis and education platform Crypto Busy predicted the Singularity Net, Ajax, Render, and Fetch may print substantial gains for investors in the coming few weeks as NVIDIA shifts their focus to AI. Very interesting take, hot take, love it. And this is what thinking objectively and creating, your own framework for how you understand the environment you're in is of value, because then you can come up with new ideas of where this world may be moving. The analyst added that these altcoins will be the first that need to break a multi-month negative trend first. Render, obviously, according to them, it's breaking down to 173. Let's see here. Just in general, I'd be looking for something around here.
Drew, I have a question for you.
What's that?
I see some interesting comments.
What's that?
If you were on the outside, you started watching crypto YouTube, and a YouTuber says, "Hey, buy this, this." Are you gonna buy those coins right then and there?
No,
that they're saying,
not.
or are you gonna? What are you gonna go do? What's the right thing to do?
You have to. Okay, so now you know about it. You know that people are talking about it. You wait for it to retrace. You make sure that it's staying relevant. You make sure that it's part of a narrative that has a high probability of existing a year or two from now.
So what you're saying is you listen to what they say and you go do your own research, and then you form your own opinion and buy from the research.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
It's a crazy concept.
That is crazy.
I know. It's nuts. Call me blue, but
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very weird. But in Ajax is another one I'm definitely liking. It's a Cardano-based project. I think it's Ben Gortzel that's part of this one, but they're feeling like it's coming up on a little bit of a squeeze right there. Honestly, I don't put too much in it. I'm just going to look at these things where they are on their tickers here. Let's see. Ajax, AQ. No. I like this project. This is one that I'm definitely going to be stacking because I know normies are going to be hot on this boy. Let's see here. So it had a few taps right here at just about 9 cents. It's at 18 cents right now. And as you can see, highly volatile. Okay. So you have to keep this in mind. You see all these hot new trends. And if you see it on a video and it's right up here, hold off. hold off just a little bit, right? Let the narrative die out. Let it all get quiet. Let people think that you're an idiot for buying it right here.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yes. And then it comes back because the narrative's not dead. AI is here for a good amount of time, unless some real nasty stuff happens in the conflict that's going on right now across the world. So, but that's not probable. It's only possible. When I talk about a mass attack or like what I prep for, those are not probable situations. They're only possible. What's more probable is just chop and just up into the right action for new, innovative, disruptive technology that has a use case. Singularity Net, I'm liking. Over the last year, let's see, it's pretty much been on its way down since last year. This is probably where it's going to hold. Probably around it would take either the banking crisis to really unfold or Penny 2.0, which now those are more likely. Those are kind of more likely. I think the second pandemic is probably a pretty likely scenario. So you got to keep that in mind. But really, in general, it's at 18 cents right now. Its peak recently was at 54 cents, and you don't need to spit on those level of gains. That's like a 2 or 3x. It's okay to get a 2 or 3x out of a altcoin. That's really not the end of the world. You see all these people like, oh, I made 100x, and I talk down to you. Usually they're full of shit. So you have to think about that when you're looking at these different projects and know what you're looking for out of life, why you're even interested in moving some savings into a project or into a stock or something else that you think is really going to shake up the markets. Know why you're doing it, because that is the very most important thing to do before looking at any of this stuff, because there's all kinds of E-news and B-news and million different meme coins. So I see all kinds of charts that are mostly look all the same, and they're all wrecked and they're all meme coins. So just keep cognizant of that. It has to have a narrative at the very least. A use case and a narrative, then you're in the big money. But if it only has just the creation and it's a name and, there's nothing much else to it, think objectively. Is that really something that's going to be exploding in the near term? What's up, DZ? Oh my God. Shoot. Unbelievable.
I got 10 minutes.
Yeah. Here it comes.
There we go.
So what you're saying, Drew, is Pepe's not going to make me a millionaire?
It made some people millionaires before. I don't know. There's DZ. Look at it.
Hey, everybody. How are we doing today?
Nice to see you, dude. Nice to see you. Where is Pepe? Is Pepe worth a buy? Let's see. I know he had this week. There was like a rug or something like that happened to it. Let's see. A year. No, this looks grim. Oh, and show my screen, would you? Oh, he's setting up the DZ shot, the close up. No, it's fine. This kind of looks grim. Where did that what was that problem? You covered it earlier this week, right, DZ? The Pepe thing? Like where they had some money?
Yeah, the team member. So, there's still a lot of issues. No one really knows exactly what's going on, but they had 26 trillion Pepe in the treasury wallet, and they sold 16 trillion of the 26 trillion. It was about $15 million if you're wondering what that was worth.
Okay. Yeah, I love Pepe the Frog, but I'm not buying this.
It's a great meme, and outside of that, nah.
It's got a special place in my heart, but it looks like it'll wreck me financially. But let's see here. Other than Cardano, God, I'm really feeling like Solana is kind of looking juicy at $20 a piece. All these things, all right, so let's talk about this. What are we going to get? What are we going to buy now? Are you waiting to buy? I know that I'm needing some cash, but Aaron, what are you going to move?
I just DCA, man. That's what I do. I get paid every Friday. That's when I buy on Fridays. Okay. Sometimes I wait till Sunday. I just see how the market's going. But as I told you, I buy Matic, I buy Cardano. I buy some ETH every once in a while, but I like I said, I stay within the top 20.
Avalanche.
I'm a little on the safe side.
Here we go. Avalanche is another juicy one.
Avalanche.
Thinking about. You like Avalanche, Morel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, it's at $10 right now. It's at it hit 140. Let's see. It's only half out though. Nick was really excited about it. I don't know. He's been talking about it forever. I don't know. I just didn't like it because I saw some meeting that they did in Aspen or something, and they just kind of looked extra pretentious to me. So it's just in the back of my mind, but that's not right. I should, not judge a book by its cover. I should give them a fair shake, maybe. And really, who am I? I just want to make money off the project and turn it into land or chickens or hard iron
Chickens.
goods. So, let's see here. What else is going on in the markets? We covered the Cardano metallic spheres in the ocean. This is just, this makes sense that there's other type of hard beryllium or crazy materials coming onto Earth, but extrasolar, kind of interesting. I don't know. Do you think aliens are real, DZ?
Do I think aliens are real? No.
No?
I used to say yes. Now I say no. And I know it's a mathematical probability. Of course they're here. I think we're all spun out of a simulation, and I don't think the simulation has more than one focal point.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's unknowable.
Yeah. I was feeling like, I'm very heavily religious, so I feel like they're demons, but extra dimensional. I feel like there's other levels of dimensions of which they exist. Us trying to understand what they are is like an ant understanding an elephant, and it's kind of difficult to do because we're looking at something beyond our human comprehension. That's just my personal take on it. And I haven't seen an alien in real life, so I can't really believe it. It's kind of hard to believe, but let's see. What else we got? I got Genesis, all this stuff. Oh yeah, this is kind of interesting. U.S. Secret Service seized funds from Bahamian bank, Deltec amid fraud investigation. Secret Service looking super high tech right there, just ultra high speed. You like his knife, Owen? Look at this.
What is it?
Owen's a knife maxi, so I always like to bring those up to him. U.S. authorities seized funds belonging to Deltec, a Bahamian bank that serves crypto firms, in June amid an investigation into international money laundering, wire, and bank fraud. Federal documents show. The Secret Service received authorization to confiscate up to roughly $58 million, that's just a touch, from a custodial account opened by Mitsubishi UFJ Trust in New York by Deltec on behalf of its corporate clients. Total amount of funds officials ultimately seized remains unclear, and Deltec is proactively cooperating with related investigators of the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia in order to provide information and assistance consistent with applicable laws, Rep said. So they believe that Deltec is legitimate, and under U.S. law, that cash seized from its account at Mitsubishi UFJ should be returned. It intends to assert such a claim as part of the forfeiture process defined under U.S. law. I kind of think it's FUD. I really don't. I still trust Tether in general. I like Tether. I hold Tether. So I'm really not that concerned about Tether. Seeing this stuff, what I'm more concerned about is our corrupt government, maybe. Watching them just breeze past electoral process and, our commander-in-chief sniffing kids on podium. That's just fine. But we're going to look at these things more particularly, right? It'd be nice if they solved whose coke that was at the White House that one night, kind of died away.
Yeah. It was the world's most fancy crack house.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And what happened to Obama's chef? Never heard of what happened to that poor guy.
Is it true he was found naked?
Oh.
Did you hear that?
No.
I had no
I don't
idea
know
what
if
you
it's
were
true or
talking
not.
about.
Dom Lucre tweeted about it, so if you want to check him out.
Dom is lit.
He follows me.
He does?
Yeah.
You're famous. You're fucking famous, man.
He's probably my coolest follower.
Yeah. Dom is a cool follow. Dom Macabre, is that how you say his name?
Dom Lucre, breaker
Dom
of
Lucre.
narratives.
Yeah. I follow him on Twitter. I love his content. He's always exposing the dirty deets like anyone that's righteous and about ethics does.
What are some good mind-opening books y'all can recommend? Scott Adams, I'm reading his Reframe Your Brain, but I just bought How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big by him. He has one of the best fiction books I've ever read, God's Debris. He wrote the book, How Would You Write the World's Smartest Person? And then that's how he writes the book. The other character is the world's smartest person. It's an interesting thought exercise. How would you write the world's smartest person? It's a hard question.
That is a tough
It's an interesting
question.
book.
That is a tough question. My favorite book's The Wealth of Nations. I would just say read that book always. If you haven't read The Wealth of Nations, you can understand long-term money creation and stuff like that. It makes things make a lot more sense in the broad scheme. But this is it's been quite a week of news. Obviously, what is this? This is just more DCG. But it's feeling like we're going to be pulling back in Bitcoin, so I'm staying patient. I'm getting ready for a big move down. We did feel a recent CME gap, but there is still that one right around $20,000. That's potential, but more than likely, my gut feeling, I'm looking for $23,000 Bitcoin somewhere over the next few months until something else breaks and I can change my thesis. Otherwise, that's kind of what it's looking like right now. I know that you wish we were going to the moon. I wish we were going to the moon too right now, but this is the time where we can accumulate.
So China went to the dark side of the moon, correct?
No,
India. India went
It
to
was
the dark.
it was India. It was India.
Okay,
I saw it on
Aaron,
TikTok.
Aaron, what about when they checked out Uranus?
I walked right into that one. My gosh.
Oh my God. That was
Dang
terrible.
it.
Oh,
In
God.
the show.
Yeah. Crypto Steve-O. Oh yeah, let's
Shout out to Steve-O.
Yeah,
He felt contrition.
Yep.
I felt it was genuine.
Yep.
Drew, you probably felt
I
the same. I
did
saw
too.
your little interchange.
I did too. So thank you very much, man. I think I want to make him a mod. I
don't mind it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
do
let's
it.
do it.
Right,
Do it, Owen. The Deadwood, thank you for joining us. C90FTW, Techno Goody, Mike Bennett, Mother Trucker, Anthony Ackerley, Veteran Crypto. Thank you very
hit
much.
That Nick Valdez too. That is me. Yeah, give me that wrench, baby.
That's you?
That's me.
That's real. Okay.
How
what
old are you in
picture
that
is that?
picture?
Oh shoot, that's like my Google account picture from. It's at least 10 years.
Okay.
It's more than that. I'm
that's
probably I'm probably
MySpace days.
24 years old there.
Oh, this
Oh,
MySpace, it looks like.
Yeah, I think that was when I went to the Drake J Cole Waka Flocka concert.
Wow.
Around that summer.
Good time. Well, thank you very much for joining us, you guys. Hope you found value in the new information we brought you on today's episode. Stay strong, stay convicted. We're gonna make it out of this on the other side in a better place. So stay strong, and until next time,
It's a brown hole.
we'll leave
Let's
you
go make
to
out,
it.
guys. That's what Drew
All
just
right,
said.
that's great.
That's